Today on Dice to Pixels, we're going to be talking about the year in review, and we're going to be talking mostly about what's happening next year with the channel. Stick with us. So, shall we start with the big news of what we're doing next year? We're going to change the format a bit.
And we're all going to be naked.
Yeah, but we'll be...
I already am from the waist down.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, we're going from belt down to neck down. But we're going to use AI to render clothes onto us, so you won't get to partake.
Yeah.
If you sign up to our OnlyFans, though. No, the big change is we're going to be moving to half-hour episodes, and there's a couple reasons for that, which we'll talk about. The biggest one is the YouTube algorithm.
It hates us.
YouTube does not like long-form content, and in fairness, that's because most people don't watch a lot of long-form content. So we're going to try moving our weekly Saturday, this episode, to about 28 minutes, give or take. That's like where we're going to start with, because we think that that's a sweet spot for the algorithm. And also because even myself, and I'm sure you're the same, and I'm sure you at home are the same, if you watch a full hour of somebody, you're usually like, cool, that was great, on to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch like half an hour and you enjoyed it, you're often like, what else did they post?
Yeah.
Which selfishly gets us more likely subscribers and everything else. So we're going to give it a shot. We're going to see how that goes. We may stick with it. We may not. However, that does not mean that we're just cutting half an hour of programming. Our goal is to do a Wednesday release of something. Could be live streams, could be another half-hour episode of like evergreeny content. Could be shorter videos of whatever's happening during the week.
There will be something.
You get the idea.
Yeah, there's going to be something.
The goal would be every Wednesday, and it is a goal. We'll see how it happens, but the goal would be that Saturdays you can look forward to the podcast. It's just going to be shorter, and then on Wednesdays you can look forward to either another episode or something else.
Or maybe us talking about controllers again for
Right.
forever.
And that's kind of the other thing is there's a bunch of topics that we've kicked around, and we have sort of a list somewhere where we didn't really feel like we could do a full episode around that topic. But if it's a half-hour episode, especially if it's a half-hour Wednesday episode, that becomes a lot easier to arrange. We can talk for 15, 20 minutes about something instead of trying to fill 40 minutes about it.
Exactly.
So that's the gist of what's happening. You can expect that to start probably next week, although next week is a little bit special because it's also the 1-year anniversary of the Wizards drama, at least the episode that we did on it. So we're going to be doing a special 1-year review on that, and that might go a little bit longer. We have a lot of people to make fun of on that episode. So that's the key thing. And then there's a bunch of other stuff that I don't know how much you guys want to talk about. There's a bunch of other stuff that we discussed that we're going to be trying to bring.
Yeah. Chad wants to actually do his playthrough of The Messenger, streaming that.
I mean, I could have said that myself, you selfish.
Well, I'm so sorry. It was just on the thing. Would you like to say that?
Well, everybody knows now.
Actually, I have a very important question, which is what platform?
That's right. Yeah. I'm probably just stick to PC, although I mean, it really doesn't matter. I'm just going to do a playthrough of The Messenger. I've talked about the game so much. I praised it, much like Sea of Stars. That's a different monster on its own, but The Messenger, I really want to do a playthrough of this. I've talked about it for years, and I'm going to get around to doing it, this year.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it a goal because, the end of the year has been kind of crazy, hectic.
Always.
Ridiculous. Health-wise, it's been kind of shitty for me, apart from like injuries and sick, and which it sucks. But I'm gonna try and do it this year because I want you all to experience this shit. I mean, if you haven't tried it yet, maybe this will be a nice introduction to want you to try it. So
yeah, I mean, I'll almost certainly watch. I'll watch at least most of it. I don't know how many hours it's going to be, but
yeah.
Probably a few episodes for sure.
I'll probably be in the room just chirping him too.
Oh, can I be on Discord chirping him?
Sure.
Jeffrey. So Chad's gonna do that. We're also you were probably just getting to this, but we're gonna try and do some more multiplayer streaming.
Yes.
one of the big changes, and you can chat more about this, Sarah. We're going to try and get some remote stuff going so that these guys don't always have to come to my place to do all of the filming.
Yep. Yeah. We have a bit of a setup already at home, but we're going to finalize it so that, like, if there's any crazy interesting stuff that happens midweek, we can record and just lop out a little mini-sode for you guys, and allows us to do some more streaming as well. If worse comes to worse, if any of us are sick, we can still do some recording from home. You can still have your normal weekly episodes, all that good stuff.
Yeah, probably the biggest one that's going to, you said it, but probably the biggest one that's going to enable us to do is, if something interesting happens Wednesday afternoon, we can just hop on a chat and do the film, do the video, and then get it out Wednesday night. So if there's really interesting stuff that happens, we don't necessarily have to wait to talk about it on Friday.
Yeah, I have found that this year, well, even since we started, like whenever something interesting has happened, it's always like, crap, we have 3 more days until we record.
Yeah, and so a little bit of background into that. We talked about it at the time, but one of the things that we did for this year, really mostly, was we moved from filming just sometime during the week to filming consistently Friday nights. Which is great for if there's interesting news at the end of the week. I mean, it worked wonderfully when Wizards did their thing on a Friday. That was fucking amazing for us. It doesn't work so well if it's a Tuesday or a Wednesday that this stuff happens. So by enabling us to do more remote, time sensitive recording like that, we can potentially do shorter videos when something truly interesting happens there, and then the Friday episode or Tuesday or whenever we happen to film it. We can do more evergreen content so that it's a little bit less topical, but a little bit more about, us having just played a D&D game and doing a debrief of it, or like whatever it turns out to be. We don't have to try and chase the news, which is a lot of what we've been doing this year. And it's been fine. It's been fun, but I'd rather move more of that out to its own thing and then do a weekly talk about just whatever the hell.
Yep.
How Wingspan became a full contact sport.
Oh, full contact board games. That sounds like childhood, honestly.
It's like Connect 4 when you're young.
Yeah,
and you're about to Connect 4 and you just get fucking rocked by your brother, sister, sibling, whatever, cousins, brothers, uncles, nephews, former roommate.
Monopoly.
I mean, it was Battleship for me.
Yeah.
With the neighbor boys.
Battleship
they didn't like
was bad,
they didn't like losing. They lost a lot.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, they were stupid. So
I
don't even know them. I just so, and actually that's something else that we talked about. We are going to, at some point in 2024, we are going to figure out board games to some extent to record and probably to stream as well. That's lower on our priority, but we are going to figure it out.
Yeah.
I think what we'll probably end up starting with is digital versions of board games because those have become a lot more prevalent and there's so many that you can play. So we'll have a TV set up for us that's the board game, but it simplifies the recording of it massively. So I think that's where we'll start, and then eventually we'll probably branch out to physical board games as well.
Yeah, and I know we kind of been switching back and forth over the last year and a bit, just in terms of where we would be streaming stuff. We've decided going forward that we are going to just go with Twitch because that seems like it's the best option at this point.
Yeah, so
maybe someday we'll switch back to YouTube, but definitely Twitch for now.
Yeah, any gameplay stuff we're going to do on Twitch.
Yep.
It's YouTube is good once you're a big channel. It's pretty crappy when you're a small channel for live stuff. So we're going to go to Twitch for any gameplay stuff. Now, if we do a live episode or anything, like we have done a couple of live episodes in the past, that will still be on YouTube. So anything that's, or if we're like jumping on to talk about a news article or something, again, that will be on YouTube. And we'll set up a premiere for it or whatever. But any gameplay stuff, I think we're going to do on Twitch. We may change our minds again, but we think it's going to be on Twitch.
Yeah. Do we want to go into detail with our TTRPG ideas?
Yeah, well, so maybe not too much detail. Yeah, actually, fuck it. We can go into detail.
Yeah.
So, bottom line, we're going to do TTRPGs. Do you want to talk about?
Yeah. So ideally, we'd love to get a couple more people to play with us so we could have like the traditional GM experience and player experience. But then we also know, like, we all know what it's like trying to get a good group together. So we're going to experiment with ChatGPT as a GM.
Yeah.
And see how that goes.
Yeah, we're going to do, this will probably be a bit of a series. Who knows how long it'll be. It depends on how well it works. I've experimented with GPT as a player.
Mm-hmm.
I have not really experimented with it much as the GM.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we'll start there.
Yeah.
It'll be the three of us playing with like giving prompts to GPT to be the DM.
Yep. And I mean, I'm personally a fan of seeing a video too. If it ends up not working,
yeah.
just the evidence of, hey, you did this thing, it did not work out well for you.
Oh, for sure. We'll be posting the result regardless. But if it works well, it may turn into a whole series.
Yes.
I'm just checking to see where my Skynet t-shirt is at.
We will also probably do another video or series with GPT. Like, I'll do the DMing. These guys will be players. And then we'll fire up GPT as an additional player.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've experimented with it a bunch. And it's pretty cool as a substitute player. It's not bad. To the point where I was even doing a little bit of a game with just a couple of GPT instances as players, and it was interesting. A little all over the place, but interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to try that. And then also, so that'll be first, because that's the easiest thing to set up is like, we can basically do it with this setup. We don't need anything else. And then you want to do a bunch of GM-less.
Yeah, I have.
Try a bunch of those.
Yeah, I have on Itch. I have a bunch of GM-less games that we can try playing, or small group games, and maybe we'll give those a shot because those would be different types of rule sets and different worlds. So
yeah,
I'm always down to try different types of games. So
yeah, and I think in general for the first little while when we're getting into TTRPG stuff, we're gonna. Basically, the premise will be appealing to people that don't necessarily have much of a game group to play with.
Yep.
Things that we hear all the time are nobody in my group wants to DM. We don't have enough players, or, well, we've only got 2 or 3 of us.
Yep.
So, at some point, I want to try GMing for just you two.
Mm-hmm.
We want to do the GPT stuff. We want to do GM-less games. We want to basically probe around and see, like, how much of a barrier is the number of people to your gaming group?
Yeah.
And then also, we do want to get a full-on, like, 5 or 6 player game going because those are just fun.
They are.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that will be, I've mentioned it on the channel before, and actually I will probably do the first one of these fairly soon. Like, we're talking a couple weeks sort of thing. I will also be doing a Discord game for some of our more loyal fans. That's totally separate from this, though. The stuff that we're talking about here is for film and release.
Yep.
Yeah. So things to look forward to.
Yep.
I mean, the D&D thing. We've all missed it. I know we've all missed being at the table.
That's the key.
And that's the big thing is like when you're with a group of people that are fun. And you're having a good time with it,
Yeah, we're honestly, that's not for views. I don't think D&D games are going to get us a lot of views, especially with it being such a saturated market.
Oh, massively.
But we fucking love it. I mean, honestly, that's why we're doing the podcast too. We wouldn't still be doing a podcast after 2 years. 1.5 and a bit.
Yeah.
If with as few views as we get, if we weren't enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We would love it to be more successful, but that's not why we're here. So
Rome wasn't built in a day.
Or even 2.
You can't prove that. Actually, I bet you can really easily. But
according to carbon fiber dating.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so those are the headline notes. If there's anything specific that you'd be looking for us to do, let us know. Comments, Discord, whatever you like. Email us, whatever. I think all of our names, just Sarah, Chad, and Adrian at Dice to Pixels. You can get us. We do check those emails, generally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all have them tied to our Gmail, our personal Gmails.
Yes.
Right here.
Yeah.
Right here.
So yeah, let us know what you'd be interested in. And but those are the things that we want to try and get going in Q1 and 2. I think the only thing that we won't necessarily get going in a big way is the board games.
Yeah, that's gonna
Because
take more logistical.
yeah,
stuff.
well the digital versions maybe not.
Yes.
Those might be super super simple, but
Mhm.
yeah, filming board games as we know from a previous life is fucking it's really hard and it's near impossible to do well. So
Yes.
It's so much fun, especially when there's communication.
yeah. So board games is like the hardest of those things. It's the least likely that we'll get going sooner rather than later.
Which is why we haven't done it to begin with very
Yeah.
much. We've known it since starting Dice to Pixels. So yeah.
Yeah, it's just really, really hard to do compellingly.
Yep.
Now, with that said, the digital version probably massively easier.
Yes. Well,
And
yeah, because it's that weird hybrid bridge of like normal video game
Yeah.
and a board game
exactly. Yeah.
mashed
And,
into one.
and there's a bunch of digital board games that I would love to do a bunch of playthroughs of their digital versions, and just
Yeah.
there's Munchkin, there's Wingspan, like there's a
Mhm.
bunch that are pretty good, pretty well done, and
Mhm.
it'd be fun to
Mhm.
give them a proper run through and
Yep.
like
You know,
chat
Wingspan,
about them.
Wingspan's been on sale the past couple weeks
Yeah.
on everything. So,
Yeah, and I've had it for months.
Mhm.
yeah. So,
And there's so many board games that are on the various like tabletop,
yeah.
Yeah.
tabletop simulator. What's it called? I
don't know.
should know that it's the online. It's one of the major online board game
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
systems, which I can't come up with. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
Yeah.
And on Steam, there's a lot of free ones too. Like I know Risk is on there for free.
Yeah, and
Yep.
a lot of them have free demos and everything else. And that's part of it. Like I would back more Kickstarters if I knew that the digital version was like
Yeah.
if that demo of the digital version went well.
Mhm.
And so that's something that we can look forward to once we get this up and running is, back a Kickstarter or try the demo before we back it or whatever,
Yep.
do a playthrough, see how we all like it, that
Yeah.
sort of stuff. So,
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
so that's all coming down the pipe. And pipe or pike? I feel like it's pike.
Why would it be Pike?
I don't know, but I feel like somebody at one point told me that no, it's pike from like some medieval bullshit. I don't know. It's like
Wait.
bold-faced lie is actually bald-faced lie, but people always say bold-face.
But boldface makes more sense because it's like
I know,
typeset.
But bald face is like poker face. So it's like you lie without showing.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's so I almost think it's like coming down the pipe.
But pipe makes more
Riveting
sense
content,
because
I know.
like you're
Oh, I know. I know.
Chad's just like, why am I here right now?
What the fuck are we talking about?
Chad's quitting this week.
I'm going to have
Um,
to create an alter ego now.
What's that?
I don't know. I'll just pick a voice. And
Okay.
then,
Coming down the pike is the original and correct version of the phrase, which nowadays usually refers to something that is happening or appearing in the future.
Like a pike as in a weapon?
Yeah, I think so.
What comes down a pike though besides blood?
I don't fucking know.
Stupid. What?
Anywho, there's your etymology lesson for the day. Yeah, and then there are a couple other things that we're going to do. Rooftop puddle party, obviously.
Yep.
yeah, Jeffrey's house.
I think we're going to we're going to J&J's, which is a local like big board game store.
hmm
In theory, we're going to like do a little bit of filming while over there.
Because why not?
And that's something that I'd like to do potentially more of.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. It might go horribly and
Yeah.
we'll never do it again, but
Yeah.
that's something that we do want to give it a shot. So
Yeah. Yep. Cool.
you wanted to go through some wrap up stuff,
Yeah.
some like Xbox Wrapped and stuff.
Yes.
We kind of talked a little bit about it last week, but not much.
Yeah. I guess Steam and Xbox have jumped on the
We did Steam. I think we
Did
did.
we do
We
Steam?
did. We
Well-
did a lot of these last week.
Well,
Did
we
we?
talked about them a little
I'm
bit.
almost
yeah.
positive we did.
We did. We talked
Okay.
about a bunch of them.
Whatever.
But I mean, we can talk about what games you actually played the most or enjoyed or whatever. I mean,
Oh,
I've been
fuck.
playing RimWorld the last. I started watching Ambiguous Amphibians runs of RimWorld,
Mhm.
like the desert and the sea ice and everything. And so I've been playing RimWorld as a result of that.
Nice.
I've been doing the sea ice challenge, which is it's fun up to a point, and I think I've gotten to the point now where it's like, wow, the colony works, and
Yeah.
at this point, it's just a slog to get to the end.
Yep.
I was thinking about doing a C block playthrough of Factorio,
Oh,
but I
okay.
don't think I have 8 years worth of time to C block is so there was a guy who did it. I think it was a guy who ran through it all on YouTube, and the video series is like 215 videos or something stupid like that.
Oh my god.
I was like, can you imagine actually like holy shit, that must take so long.
Jesus. Yeah,
Yeah.
no. I've been I just got the OLED, the Switch
Yeah,
OLED.
the Switch OLED, yeah.
And like it's a nice upgrade for in
Yeah.
handheld mode, and even the base, like the being able to like landline it directly to the modem's nice. It's still slow, like internet wise, it's still slow. So I think it's on Nintendo's end, like they just don't have their shit together insofar as like that kind of infrastructure.
Yeah,
'Cause
they've
it
never
does-
been great with that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what, like it's just their store always seems slow when you're trying to access it on the Switch. But the OLED's nice. It's a nice upgrade. The trade-in value because we traded in a Switch and a Switch Lite and got like almost like $320 Canadian
Yeah.
in trade for it
Yeah.
for both of them. So I mean,
Which isn't terrible. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm sure you can do better selling them
Yeah.
on Facebook Marketplace and getting robbed, but you know,
oh yeah. But no, like Super Mario Brothers Wonder has been one that I've been playing the past couple weeks, and man, there's just something about that game that's just so great.
Well, it's because it's an actual Mario game,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah, it's just fun. It's pretty much I've been reinvigorized lately just to play like Nintendo stuff.
yeah.
So yeah, playing that, and then just like the Metroid Prime Remastered, going back and just dicking around with that some more, and then I'm sitting here trying to understand why certain publishers and media outlets are giving Tears of the Kingdom fucking Game of the Year. Like it just blows my mind that
boy.
I don't understand it. I don't understand how basically like the whole thing is structured exactly. And I have played it now. Thank you,
Yeah.
Jim. But like how the whole thing is structured like Breath of the Wild, like in pacing and everything. But then they added like the new mechanic of building shit. And then all of the powers are just like kind of little twists on the powers you got in Breath of the Wild. This is
One of the least interesting and least imaginative
No.
games of the entire
Yeah.
year in
And-
terms of the major studios.
so it blows my mind that in a year where we've had Baldur's Gate 3 and like the Res 4 Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 2 was fucking
Look,
that was a trip.
look,
That was a trip.
fucking Starfield was considerably better
Yeah.
than Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
And
So-
it really wasn't anything.
It was nothing.
It wasn't anything really different than Skyrim in
No.
space.
Well, I mean, on the one hand, it absolutely wasn't. On the
Mhm.
other hand, it had outpost building and starship building and everything else, which was way better and way better done than fucking Tears of the Kingdom's
Mhm.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's one of
Garbage
those
game.
it blew my mind, and I used to have like a lot of respect for I'm not going to name names, but I used to have a lot of respect for certain outlets that have been established and around since, the 90s, 2000s, that I used to really take stock of their opinions and reviews and all that stuff. And I'm literally like over the past year, one in particular, I'm just like, I am done. I'm not subscribing to, the magazine anymore. I'm not following the webpage. I'm not reading their articles because it's crap. Like
Yeah, I'm very confused because like I don't think historically Nintendo has bribed outlets for like favoritism, but like I'm starting to wonder if that's changed because I don't see how any legitimate gamer
Mhm.
could give Zelda let alone like forget a game of the year, even just a decent score.
Mhm.
It's like, did you play anything else that was released this year?
Yeah, because even on the Switch alone, if I was just going to pick a Nintendo Switch game of the year, it would be Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
100%.
Like
No
that would be
question.
my Switch game of the year, like hands down.
Yeah.
Mind, like the Metroid Prime remaster,
Sure.
because it's a remaster, I wouldn't necessarily say it's the game of the year, like game of the year. But I mean, if that's the case, like you have Super Mario RPG, the remake that came
Yeah.
out, which is better, Like-
Much better than Tears of the Kingdom.
right? And Mario Brothers Wonder is just it's a return to form to Super Mario platform with the added multiplayer stuff in a completely like new setting. Granted, there's some new little gameplay enhancements like power ups that you get for it. So
Well, it comes down to, like, at the end of the day, Tears of the Kingdom didn't even fucking run. Like, it was like 20 frames per second. It was garbage in every conceivable way.
Yeah.
There was no redeeming quality of that game.
yeah,
So, like, I knew when people were giving it like 10s out of 10s and shit. Like, okay,
Yeah.
none of you are gamers. None of you have, like, that's like somebody trying to tell me that Jersey Shore is an award-winning TV show. It's like, great, cool.
Yeah.
I will never respect another goddamn thing you say about television for the rest of your life. Thank you for saving me the hassle of thinking you have a valid opinion.
yeah, yeah.
So the whole Tears of the Kingdom thing is
That's-
crazy.
Yeah, that's my rant.
It-
That's
That's another one of those circumstances where part of me is like, oh, I wonder how they've rated things before for other games too, and just see if there's any sort of weird patterns going on with that at all, whether it does seem to be pandering or not.
Oh, yeah.
or-
Well, we looked into it a bit. Well, not a huge amount, but we looked into it a bit, and like, yeah, things. Some of the Nintendo games were just like, there's a 10-point inflation on
yeah.
baseline 10-point inflation on Nintendo scores. Or 10 or 1, depending on if they're out of 10 or 100. But
Yeah.
and that's not saying that first party Nintendo games aren't good. They are good. They put
Sure.
a lot of effort into their games.
well, all except for Tears of the Kingdom. Most of them are good.
Yeah. So
But like I said, like Tears of the Kingdom, like even aside from the fact that the game added nothing of value to the existing Zelda, it ran like shit.
Mhm. Yep.
That's unacceptable for a first party game on their own console. Like, fuck off.
Mhm. Yep.
That would be like Spider-Man being a PS5 exclusive and running like shit on the PS5.
Yeah.
It would be like, okay, that's a shit game.
yeah,
Done.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's my rant of the week.
Yeah, no, I mean, I had the same thing about mid-year when I started seeing some of these scores. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, not that I put a lot of stock into the critics stuff to begin with,
Mhm.
but I'm like, okay, none of your opinions have any bearing.
Mhm.
To a large extent, the same shit with, I mean, fucking Atomic Heart. How many reviewers were like, it's the greatest game? It's Atomic Heart was shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, it's been a weird year for game reviews and stuff.
The games, for the most part, a lot of the games have been good, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. I mean, Tears of the Kingdom would have been good. It would have been good, not great, if it didn't run like crap.
Yeah.
So
here's
Wonder
the-
though, Mario Wonder is
Oh, that's
very
great.
cool.
It's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
And
We'll
Super
have to do
Mario
some-
RPG is
Oh yeah, we'll have to do some multiplayer on Wonder at some point. So,
for sure. Yeah.
yeah, but
Yep.
on to 24.
Yep.
On to 24. So
Yeah. We'll stop there because we're coming up on 30 minutes right now.
Yep.
So and we want to try this one as the first one to get under 20 minutes
Yep.
or 30 minutes. So thanks so much for watching. We'll see y'all in 2024.
have a safe and happy New Year. Don't do anything stupid.
That too. Cheers.
Bye.